Ask me, are you dying as you live or living afraid to die? I couldn't lie, son. I heard God's son, like a calm hum. Died some, came alive some, up on high some. Lifted out that prison, you'll be sliding out that sepulcher. Crosshair on my body, don't care if they shoot the messenger. Ain't no weapon shall prosper, gospel flow out me like lava. No enemy that we can't counter, Mouser. I spit heat throughout the heavens to the valleys, from the highs into the lows. Everybody,
I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Right.
Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
Hello, everybody. Hold on. I need to fix my microphone and hopefully it doesn't tip. Can you guys hear me? Can everybody hear me? Hello. Ooh, this thing is about to fall. Dang it. Hold on. Oh no, I'm having microphone problems. This is not fun. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and run the schizo clip. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Can somebody tell me if they can hear me so I can fix my microphone? Because this is super embarrassing. I'm going to run the clip. I will BRB. Yeah, you can hear me? Thank you, Genocide. I appreciate it. I'll say hi to everybody when I get back.
Authorities tell us that the most serious or perhaps the most dangerous kind of devil worship comes in the form of underground cults. Most of them are very secretive, usually organizing clandestine rituals in the dark of night. Well, those ceremonies sometimes involve the sharing of animal blood to gain power, they say, but cult members believe their strength really comes from secrecy.
Okay, I think I've fixed the issue, even though now it looks like I have something phallic in front of my face. So hopefully you guys can hear me. Hello, Genocide. Hello, Dr. Crispy Rothschild. Tiffany Meatball. Hello. Hi, Nemesis in Hades. Dream Date Charlie. Hello. Russell Cook. Hello. Michael Sear. Pete Thomas. What's up? Dave. And Zeralath. Hello. Slow Boy Whiteboard. Hello. Hi, Soil Lodge. and Chris and Misty Blue. Let me see, something else is here. Alien Big Cat and Susan Donahue. All right. On the same day of the Manson murders, the Beatles shot the iconic Abbey Road photo, correct? And Polanski was indeed in Europe making a movie with, yeah. Yeah, it's all, well, we don't really know who he was with, right? Yeah, he was working on Day of the Dolphin, which Wojciech Frykowski was. Oh, you can't hear me now? Hold on. Can you guys hear me or not? Because this is getting really frustrating. I'm very confused. If I just said hi to everybody and they can't hear me, then that sucks. Oh no, can you guys hear me? Hello? Audio? Yeah? Hello? Bueller? I've been waiting to do this stream, so this is very frustrating for me if this isn't working. Okay, you can hear me. Cool. Thank you. Okay, appreciate it. Thank you, Pat Wilkins and Dream Date Charlie. 5x5. Thank you. That's what I need to say. Thank you, Jennifer Mushnick. Cool. Okay, so all right, let's go ahead. And what are we talking about today? We are talking about this fella right here, Mr. Bernard Crowe, aka Lotsapoppa. I have no idea where the nickname Lotsapoppa came from, but that was a cute little drawing that a friend sent me. That this friend is going to be, quite frankly, the bulk of this information, even though they will deny it and say that, like, it's my legwork because I think that they're just trying to feed my ego, and I would highly disagree with them. But what I want to do is kind of set the record straight because I feel that Bernard Crowe, there's a lot of misinformation out there about him. And I think in the context of the times and the way that Bugliosi tells the story, he was, pretty much used and discarded because he was a black drug dealer in the 60s, right? When you look at it in that context. But in reality, everything that has been documented, Manson and Crowe were pretty good friends. And the girls had nothing but nice things to say about Bernard Crowe. And I think that it's very odd that it's painted as this sort of like random drug deal gone wrong. These things just bother me. And then you guys know that I'm really into genealogy. And so obviously I've done genealogy on Mr. Crowe as well, as much as I could find. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of information, but we are going to get into it. Now, what I have done is I have pulled from the first edition of Helter Skelter just so that we can kind of see how Bugliosi sets it up. And I'm just going to kind of scan through a couple of the other ones. That way you guys can see, because there's not a lot of changes, but this was the first red flag to me, the way that Bugliosi narrates it. Like, oh, my friend called me and he's an attorney and he just happened to have this black guy, Bernard Crowe, that I was looking for. And it's like, I don't really know that I buy that. And we'll come back to the attorney at another time. Today, my focus is on Bernard Crowe. So let's go ahead and let's start with Helter Skelter. Okay, so you guys should be able to see that. This is his cast of characters, right? Not going to go through all of this. Obviously, if you're familiar with the case, a lot of these people are very familiar. But right here, Manson shot Bernard Crowe. This is TJ the Terrible, aka Thomas Walleman, sometime family member who was present when this occurred, allegedly. Allegedly. We're going to say that this story is much more complicated than what you may think. Now, this is in the timeline, March 1970, again, from Bugliosi, right? Though no miracle was involved, the Black Panther whom Charles Manson had shot and killed in July of 1969 had resurrected, only he wasn't a panther, just a former dope dealer, and contrary to what Manson and the family had believed, after Manson shot him, he hadn't died, though his friends had told Manson that he had. His name was Bernard Crowe, but he was best known by the descriptive nickname Lotsapoppa. Our long search for Crowe ended when an old acquaintance of mine, Ed Thomas, who was Crowe's attorney, called me. He told me he had learned we were looking for his client and arranged for me to interview Crowe. And as the story goes, after the meeting, after Manson and TJ had left the Hollywood apartment where the shooting took place, Crowe, who had been playing dead, told his friends to call an ambulance. They did, then split. When questioned by police at the hospital, Crowe said he didn't know who had shot him or why. He nearly didn't make it. He was on the critical list for 18 days. The bullet was still lodged next to his spine. This is also something that is heavily pushed with this angle with Crowe is like this mysterious bullet. They really, really push it. Now, right here is where Bugliosi kind of plays his hand. I was interested in Crowe for two reasons. One, the incident proved that Charles Manson was quite capable of killing someone on his own. Though I knew I couldn't get this into evidence during the guilt phase of the trial, I was hopeful of introducing it during the penalty phase when other crimes can be considered. So, he's saying right there, this is going to be his smoking gun, so to speak, right? Now, this is a later edition, okay? Same thing, exact same thing, pretty much. However, Crowe was jailed on a marijuana charge, so he added this. As he was being escorted down the hall, he passed Manson and his guard, who were on their way back from the attorney room. Charlie did a quick about-face, then told Crowe, according to the deputies who were present, "Sorry, I had to do it, but you know how it is." Crowe's response, if there was one, went unreported. And let's just check this last edition that I got, because I think this might be the latest one. Let's see. Right here, we have, again, the stuff with lotsapoppa. Yeah, okay. All right, so that's what we've got for Helter Skelter. Now, the whole, I had to do it, you know how it is. These people are felons, right? Some would say outlaws, okay? So, this is outlaw life, outlaw rules. Yeah. So hopefully that tracks for everybody. Sorry that I had to do it. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and let's see what Tom O'Neill had to say. And we're not going to read all of this, but some of this we have read. If you've been listening to the podcast, it is on there. But let's see what old Power Bottom Tom, had to say about Bernard Crowe. Okay. So right here, at first, Wilson and Jacobson knew that Manson had shot a black man named Bernard Crowe about 5 weeks before the Tate murders, and Jacobson, who testified that he'd talked to Manson upward of 100 times, was well acquainted with his friend's bizarre race war predictions. I don't really care about the race war thing. I mean, there's the Nazi angle, right? But let's go over here. In another interview with the writer Paul Krasner, Guillory explained, "It appeared to me that the raid was more or less staged as an afterthought. There was some kind of a grand plan that we were participating in, but I never had the feeling the raid was necessary." He speculated that Manson was never arrested because our department thought he was going to attack the Black Panthers. Their intelligence had revealed that Manson had shot Bernard Crowe, whom he had mistakenly believed to be a Panther, in July, and this apparently convinced LASO that Manson was going to launch an attack on the whole organization. Well, maybe. I mean, who really knows, honestly? And again, right here, he kind of picks up, but Bernard Crowe wasn't a Black Panther, and he survived. Bugliosi even called him to the stand during the trial. Bugliosi chalked it up to a misunderstanding on Manson's part, but the more I thought about it, especially in light of what I'd learned about COINTELPRO, the more I wondered if there was more to the story. The prosecutor reported that Manson was already frightened of the Black Panthers before the Crowe shooting. If Manson were truly scared of the Panthers, the last thing he would have done is shoot a man whom he believed to be a Panther, a man who'd already told his brothers where Manson lived and made a threat to kill him. Okay, and let's see what he puts in his footnotes, because remember, when Tom goes on his press tours, he says that his footnotes is what he's most proud of, right? So, right here, Wilson and Jacobson knew that Manson had shot. I located more than a half a dozen documents in the LA District Attorney files and the LA County Sheriff's Office files indicating that Manson had discussed the Bernard Crowe shooting with Wilson within a week of the Tate murders, although it's unclear if the name Crowe was ever mentioned. Well, I would love some clarification on that, Tom, because if it's the Bernard Crowe shooting, then you would assume that the name Crowe would be included. But hey, what do I know, right? I'm just a stupid hillbilly. So, now we're going to get into the fun stuff, because this is the interesting part for me. That's just backstory, right? That's the public consumption narrative. That's the basics. We're about to go through some stuff in Ed's files, though. I'm going to credit, because this one person won't take credit. No sense makes sense. If you know, you know. Thank you very much for all the information that has been sent to me. I truly appreciate it. And now we are going to start with file number 1. This one's only 17 pages, so let's dig in. And again, this comes from Ed Sanders' archive. So here we go. Now, this is in here numerous times. We're not going to sit here and read the entire thing, just going to kind of run through the highlights, okay? But defendant has been a self-employed clothing salesman working out of his residence for the past 2 years. He also does odd jobs for Mrs. Doty, whose business establishment is located at 3622 West Jefferson Boulevard. He sold clothes back east before he came here, but for about 1 month held employment here at an international airport as a cook. Blah, 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 talking about his debt, his automobiles, no military history. He was rejected due to his weight. He weighs 284 pounds and stands at 5'11". He has recently regained his health, indicating that he was shot August 1st, that's not true, by Charles Manson. The bullet was not removed. It is lodged in his abdomen. He seems to have about average intelligence. He claims regular attendance at the Christian Science Church. I would love to I would love to know which one he goes to. And spends his spare time studying the trumpet. Spare time indeed. Denying the illegal use of narcotics or dangerous drugs in any form, he describes himself as a non-drinker. He admits that he tried marijuana a few times in the past. And right here, because I think it's relevant that where this information's coming from, right? So the sources of information are LACO and LAPD. I don't know if they meant LASO or not, but this is giving a breakdown of, his various warrants and arrests. That's fine. Receiving stolen property. He was present with several co-defendants. So, present offense. Defendant was arrested on April 28, 1969 by detectives from the Hollywood Division of the LAPD at 7008 Woodrow Wilson Drive in Hollywood. He was charged in the information with violating blah, 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 health and safety code, possession of marijuana. He appeared in court on May 18, 1970, at which time he was found guilty as charged. Further proceedings have been continued to the present date, and the defendant has remained on his own recognizance. The facts in this matter would appear substantially as follows. It appears that a reliable informant told the officers that a narcotic party was in progress at the arrest location. Acting on said information, an investigation was undertaken. The officers observed numerous persons, male and female, lying about in the living room area. They were partially clad. Upon gaining entrance to the area, the officers observed 13 people in the residence in various stages of undress. During the search of the premises, a brown paper sack was observed in a closet, and it was determined that it contained several plastic bags containing marijuana. Another quantity was found in another part of the house. It was alleged that the defendant made an exclamatory statement at the time of arrest, "That is all my stuff. Don't involve them." All parties, adult and juvenile, at the location, were taken into custody for various dispositions of their several cases. And this is his statement. Bernard Crowe. Defendant states that he had been seriously wounded through gunshots visited upon his person by an individual known as Charles Manson. He did not want his friends to know that he had been shot, and since he knew a lot of hippies and actors from Hollywood, they took him in for recuperation. He states that he was bedridden with his wounds when one night the police came. He says that he was the oldest person there, and he believes that is why he was held responsible. The police showed him the marijuana, but he denies any prior knowledge thereof. He denies making the statement attributed to him at the time of the arrest. He indicates that the contraband was discovered and retrieved from a downstairs area, which is in fact a separate apartment. He wants to be granted probation, stating that he intends to go into business for himself involving import and export. Yeah? Is that what we're going to call it? Import and export? Okay. He will continue to take trumpet lessons. I feel that it is my duty to advise you that I do have another case pending, which is for receiving stolen goods. I feel that it is also necessary to tell you that at the time of my arrest, I was a visitor in a house where the goods were found. I was unaware that the goods were stolen until my arrest. Had I known the goods were stolen, I would have not placed myself in jeopardy by being in that place. And here they list all of the interested parties, and we're going to see what these people actually have to say about Bernard Crowe. But right here, let's keep going. And here is his, again, evaluation, talking about, he's overweight, blah, 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 he's self-employed, this and this. That's fine. Let's keep going. And right there, Kenneth Kirkpatrick, this is his probation officer. There is the signature from the judge, 10/20/1970. And here are all the letters. This is the Doty that he worked for at the Los Angeles Cardiopulmonary Service, specializing in lung physiotherapy. To whom it may concern, I have known Bernard Crowe for 5 years, first as an employee and then as a friend. As an employee, Mr. Crowe was classified as a person of integrity, ingenuity, and adaptability, punctual in attendance, with definite leadership qualities which enabled him to work without direct supervision. He was well respected by his fellow workers and displayed a keen sense of responsibility. As a friend, I am most impressed with his high moral code, loyalty, and well balanced, friendly relationship to people. Mr. Crowe is definitely a person that I find it a privilege to recommend for any and all considerations. Sincerely, Georgia M. Doty, Director. So, let me stop that right here before we get into this phone conversation, because you're about to see that Crowe is not happy with what we're discussing here. But this is some of Crowe's backstory. Because when you look up Bernard Crowe, he doesn't exist. There was a very long period of time where I did not believe that Bernard Crowe was even his real name because I couldn't find anything. But I'm going to show you guys that obviously I have been able to find it thanks to these documents. But everywhere that you look, he is painted as just this sort of like violent drug dealer. And yes, it is the street that Mama Cass lived on. It's a very astute observation, Misty Blue. Oh yeah, these Bernard Crowe, it's not random. This is just my humble opinion based off of the information that is available. But right here. So I believe that this is an interview with Larry Larson. Okay, so we're not going to read the whole thing. Okay, but Crowe is not happy because they are trying to get in touch with, allegedly, some of his family. He thinks that it's Ed, right? He's like, you all are doing a book, and he's very upset that right here, let me ask you a question. This is, you got in touch with my people in Philadelphia. How did you know to do that? How did you know to do that? I didn't do it. I could tell you that. Well, who was it? I think you have a sister back there. Is that right? And he says, yeah, but I mean, how would you get that number? Who gave you her number? There's a lot of back and forth. He's not happy that people are getting in contact there. Now, I do think it's very interesting right here. He knows who Ed is, right? He says, well, I understand there's another person in New York who's supposed to be writing a book, right? Well, who is that? Who is it that you're investigating for someone back there writing this book? Who is the son of a bitch writing the book back there? Oh, the other fellow. Beg your pardon. Yeah, he's a friend of Paul. That's Paul Fitzgerald. That's Manson's attorney, right? Yeah, what is his name? I mean, his name? Yes, Ed. Ed? Ed Sanders. Okay, so we've clarified that. Ed Sanders. So let's continue on because he talks about New York again. Sorry, guys, these files are really long. Let's see. Where is it? Because I put in a picture as well. Right here, he says he's clarifying law enforcement probably did try to get in contact, but that it was not Ed Sanders and it was not him, right? Now, let's see. Okay, so he's asking for Ed Sanders' number right here. Is there a way I can have this guy's number in New York? I would like to ask him a few questions. I don't know that they ever spoke. As far as I can see, it doesn't look like they did. And talking about, life in the street, on the opposite side, I'm assuming on the opposite side of the tracks, right? He's asking about the topic of the book. Obviously, Larry Larson's not going to show his hand, but right here, they bust somebody or something for a certain thing, and because the person tells them how it happened or whatever, because you can't beat nobody nothing if they don't want something for nothing anyway, right? All of it's conversation. These people and their hippie jargon, I don't understand it, okay? Don't understand it at all. But again, he's not letting go of the sister thing. Obviously, he's very touchy about that, all right? Going to continue to go through. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Again, he's clarifying, I've never contacted anyone back in Philadelphia. Okay, that's fine. We get it. And let's keep going. Right here. Very certain people in New York and 2 here was in the apartment when I got shot. Let's consider who else was in New York that was tied to this case that was found in the trunk of a vehicle at an airport. So it had to be one of them that was shooting their mouth off, and I was just wanting to know who it was and, why or whatever. I mean, it might not be nothing, it was just that I wish they would have let me know first or whatever. And Larry is saying, for one thing, it's not the way I operate. I don't go around threatening people. And then they decide that they're going to set up another phone call, right? So that's fine. They give their phone numbers. Obviously, this is in the 60s, but I'm still going to black out the phone numbers because who knows who owns that number now. And here we get to Ed's really fun chicken scratch, right? So if you have a better translation, let me know because I don't, right? So apparently Bernard Crowe has two kids, or at that time, couldn't find any records of any of this. 9 years old or so at the time. Larry saw Crowe at the hospital on, I'm assuming April 23rd, I don't know when that would be. So right here. Oh, maybe this is the other shooting because Bernard Crowe was shot twice. We're going to get into that. Bernard Crowe was shot in the foot. Crowe claims it was a 20-ton question mark. I'm translating it as is 20K deal, right? So he was shot in the foot. Who else was shot in the foot? Joel Bristow, right? Joel Bristow, we have seen connected to Michael Thieves, right? So right here, knew where Manson's, I don't know what that is, was. Manson is on death row. I don't know what that name is, and don't know what that is. Let's keep going. Now, right here, because this is in the Crowe file, Blackburn, I don't know who Blackburn is, but it's very interesting that they live in Cortland. Why? Because remember, he mentioned a couple people in New York, but Cortland is 14 miles or 21 minutes from Westchester County. That's very interesting to me. Could mean nothing, could mean something. Who really knows? So, that's the end of number 1. And if this is not enlightening to anybody, I apologize. But Ed did the hard work, and my friend did the hard work of getting this to me. And so we're going to go through it because the girls have some really interesting things to say about Bernard Crowe, which makes me think that he was like a big black teddy bear. He was probably a cool guy. He likes to get high and hang out with dirty hippie hoes. Whatever, people have done worse things. 100% a freak, though. He a full freak for hanging out with Charlie. Straight up. That can't let slide. But, so 7008, Woodrow Wilson. Let's go. All of Ed's strange drawings up there. So, right here. Friday in October, dope bust the next night. Young girl, circa 25, daughter of Baker, 2 doors down. Something bad or bag of triangle-shaped blue pills. Hey, anybody that was around in the 60s in LA, what were the triangle-shaped blue pills? I know that I got some of you guys hanging out in my chat. Can someone tell me? Mrs. Baker, the mother, when Manson was popped, had something Manson's bus or van having been parked near 7008. We're going to get into that here in a minute. And right here, M. Du Beauvais, 65. I'm assuming the year 65 school, graduated, but he's an architect. That's interesting. We get a couple of addresses right here talking about Mr. Michael Walker, who Du Beauvais rented property to. We're going to be skipping over a lot of the painful details of Mr. Michael Walker because, again, they are just painful details. But represented to Du Beauvais that he was a manufacturer of leather goods for hippies. Michael Walker did. He represented himself that way. So apparently, on August 12th, 1969, De Du Beauvais comes back, and we'll see where he's coming back from being out of town. And apparently there were hippies on scene that decided to throw some candles at him. The color of those candles will be relevant in a little while. And right here, the tuba player for the LA Symphony Orchestra was told Du Beauvais that Manson was up on Loyal Trail. It's Loyola Trail, 7024 Loyola Trail. This is how I translate Ed's stuff, guys, so now you know. So there's a Mrs. Maxwell. Does this give anybody major Kill Bill sirens? Maxwell Silverhammer? So there's a Mrs. Maxwell in this situation in this neighborhood. She was known by Du Beauvais as the woman in the house with 36 cats. And apparently found a lot of large black candles at 7024 Loyal Trail. Apparently the occupants, women, were sitting in a circle chanting in the nude. Now, Mr. Michael Walker would take trips weekly to Albuquerque to buy dope. Wonder why. And good old Ed, the goat, right? Because this is 1970. So, in the context, January 1970, Scientology sent 2 operatives into Spawn Ranch to check out if Scientology was going to be questioned, I'm assuming brought up in the trial. And also, Scientology sent undercover operatives into Mama Cass's, who stated that there was a party week of snuffs. They are willing to trade data. What did I tell you guys? What did I tell you guys with that money? The money, the $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, whatever what was it, 30? 25 or 30. The Scientology was offering the same time as Yul Brynner, Peter Sellers, and I think it was John Phillips. I can't remember. I should know by now. I should be able to retain this information. What data are they willing to trade? They're trying to figure out who knows what. But they both have these films. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Now, down here, meteorite or meterdite hippie? I don't know what that is. Ed asked that question. What does that mean? Now, it says here, Deemer asked Milner, what does it mean? I'm assuming that Milner is Terry Milner of the Guardian's office, Scientology's old CIA, right? And Deemer is Lieutenant Earl Deemer, okay? Rampart Division. We already know that. Let's continue on. Ooh, hold on. Am I frozen? Don't do that. Don't do that. There we go. Okay, so a girl named Terry Cohen apparently they were offering snuff of a girl off of Mulholland, right? And then he makes the observation that this girl, Terry Cohen, and the morgue photo of the girl from North Mulholland looked, I think this is a lot alike right here. So Terry looked at a lot alike one of the photos. This is my assumption of what this means. But one of the girls killed and left off of North Mulholland, whoever this Terry Cohen is, she has information on this. That's very odd, in my personal opinion. And right here, John Cole came to Scientology July 30th, 1970. Need, question mark, 75 grand, cash for secrets, can't translate the next word, internal steps of operations of Scientology secret information or data. Secret agent for the U.S. government. Morton B. Holt was his attorney. And then they give his address, and apparently this is the insurance company that the person works for. So, this is all real sus to me, right? And right here, just listing clips. That's fine. There's nothing included there. Anything in blue is from my friend. The rest is from me. So Anthony Tony Schultz, Kennedy, the National Tatler. No idea where that's going. I have no clue. Okay? Now, on this side, I know for a fact, once I looked at this, that this was Terry Milner that he was referring to. It says second floor converted apartment, one door north of question mark Scientology building, West 9th Street. I've already made a Google Earth map. Okay? So, the Google Earth map, I already knew this right here is 9th Street. This right here is where Terry Milner is listed on the Gall and Sharp murder report, because I put all the addresses in, and I just have it as LA org. This is the address. So they are talking about Scientology. And apparently, one Brian Rubinical is an associate of Milner who knew about Alan Watts. If you guys remember, in the Guardian's office documents, they talk about one of the informants that they had in the family and some drug dealings going on with the family on Alan Watts' houseboat. Okay. And then here he lists a few people: Ken Whitman, Guardian's office; Bob Thomas, Deputy Guardian; Artie Marin, Deputy Guardian. If you guys have been listening to the podcast, I posited the theory when we got to Artie reaching out to Ed that he was probably well aware of who these people were, and that's why he didn't respond, because there's nothing in his records that he did respond. This is confirmation to me that he figured out who Artie Marin was, right? And this is a lot of stuff, I think, from here. Let's see. This is just random notes about alleged surgery. Don't really know. I'm not focused on that. Now, in this random file, focusing on Crowe. Very odd. The process, Brother Barnabas. And give on Wells, I'm assuming Wells Street, right? Chicago. Kind of weird that he just tossed that in there, right? Gotta wonder what was going on in Ed's mind. So, Crowe fuzz, trying to find him, don't know, took Crowe out of court, grant of immunity, and drop every pending case. So, right here, this, from my interpretation, my friend who gave me this, and the information that they have garnered, this was to get Crowe to testify against Charlie at trial, right? And I have a video of Crowe that we're going to watch. It's a very short clip of him in court. And I think that it also bolsters the argument because it's very clear that he did not want to testify against Charlie. But I mean, if you have every pending case dropped against you and you guys saw that there was quite a list in there, I mean, that's kind of a impossible situation, right? But let's go ahead and see what Ed posits first. We'll start with that. Okay, so you guys can see all of his handwriting extends over here. So 2 scenarios. Manson had ordered a big batch of dope from Crowe and had given the money, a large amount. Crowe said he had gotten burned himself. He couldn't supply the dope. Manson then said, "You bring it over or I'll kill you." Crowe went over, paid the money back to Manson. Manson then went into bang, that'll take care of you, you black motherfucker, and then kissed his foot. Okay, odd. And right here, again, Ed, I gotta know what's going on in your mind, man. Clear, complete wipeout of the personality so that sometimes after clear, for months, sometimes only person that can talk to is the auditor that cleared it. Ed kind of gets it, right? Ed kind of gets it. So he's on a journey, right? He's on a journey right here. And then this is the Daily News. Let's see if he wrote the date on here. He did not. But Manson trial has a typically wild day, right? So right here it says, when Crowe was finally allowed to testify, he told the jurors this story. At 11 p.m., July 31st, 1969, about a week before the Tate murders, he and some friends met Charles Tex Watson, a Manson family member, in a car in Hollywood. Crowe gave Watson $2,400 to buy marijuana, and the group drove to El Monte, where Watson, with the money, went into the apartment house and disappeared. We're not going to sit here and go through all of this crap. We know this story. This is the impetus of alleged Helter Skelter. And again, Tom O'Neill gets a flower for showing how uncredible Vincent Bugliosi is. But my thing is, it's all about what they don't say. Oh, look, I just did Ed dirty. It's January 28th, 1971. What did you say about a meteorite? Can be pulled into orbit for a time frame? Oh, that's a good observation. Thank you. I'm going to have to come back and look at the chat. So, right here, we're not going to sit here and look at all this. This is just so you guys can see Ed's notes, right? Listing all of these people. We don't know who all of these people are yet. Don't know who all of them are. And right here, this is the beginning of that probation report, okay, that we looked at. See how it just says Bernard Crowe? He has no middle name. That's always a red flag to me. That'll never change. It is what it is. And right here, this gives the one history that we're missing. Okay, 1 of 5 children. He was born in Washington, D.C., raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He came here from Philadelphia in November of 1965. He quit school in the 4th grade in order to search for employment. Both of his parents are dead. His father, a minister, died when he was 21, and his mother, a domestic worker, died when he was 17. All of his brothers and sisters reside in Philadelphia. Charles is 36, Martine Savage is 34, Dolores is 30, and the defendant's twin, Bernice, also still resides in Philadelphia. So Bernard Crowe is one of 2. He is a twin. And we're just going to go ahead and scan through. That way nobody judges me or accuses me of holding anything back. Oh, I went too fast. Too fast for my own good. Okay, so see how disorganized Ed's notes are? Princeton needs to step it up. So Mike Walker made a weekly trip to Albuquerque to snorf, I have no idea, up dope. MJ, I'm assuming marijuana, Mary Jane, according to Huffman. Huffman is the lighting director for 20th Century Fox for the past 30 to 35 years. Isn't it odd how all of these people know each other? He told Larry he knew both Shorty O'Shea and Sharon Tate. And for the rest of it, I will be pulling up my friend's notes because they already tried to transcribe it. Are we going to read every single thing? No, but let's go ahead. Let me find it. I thought I had it ready. Give me a second. Stream's not going the way that I wanted to. I'm not really happy about that, but that's okay. Life goes on. While I'm pulling it up, how's everybody's first day of the American Years of Lead? Yeah, rough day, But you're not going to get clickbait from me, so you're going to get what I'm going to give you. Not going to get clickbait because whatever. Anyways, here we go. So where we picked up from, because we ended around this page, right here. Huffman, lighting director for 20th Century Fox. I need to look this guy up, but we get all of this fun information, right? And this individual, Bill Vance, I'm sure that there's more information out there, but I still want to come back to him because again, I'm not going to go in. Never mind. I'm going to shut up. Anyway, so again, just translating all of this, a new owner evidently purchased this house, 7008. Okay. Subsequent to Bernard's departure, Crowe was freaky and allegedly once approached a neighbor, a German named Wilhelm Willman, and Crowe threatened his life, accusing him of being an ex-Nazi. Behind Crowe's home, in fact, the logical entrance to 7008 Woodrow Wilson Drive is through the back door off of Loyola Trail. Evidently, at 7024, Loyal Trail was a crash pad pack of sort. And again, talking about Mrs. Maxwell, right? We already saw that stuff about her. And let's see, Mike Walker moved in. We've already talked about this. And the wife, Catherine Brundle, aka Katie, allegedly made long skirts for boutiques, and he was in the business of manufacturing leather goods. He also was in the business of going to Albuquerque in regards to drugs. Loyola Trail, and allegedly, according to de Beauvais, he made leather goods for someone named Manson. It can be noted that circa June 1969, Patricia Krenwinkel purchased around 10 deerskins, according to Dan DiCarlo, November 17, 1969, and they were made into buckskins for the men of the family. Robin Wells, a young female Caucasian whose father was rumored to be a judge somewhere in California, was living in the summer of 1969 at 7024 Loyal Trail. According to de Beauvais, she worked for Columbia Screen Gems. Mr. de Beauvais went to Europe on vacation for the summer of 1969. He returned on August 12th. He looked out his own maybe window, I have no idea, at his house on Woodrow Wilson Drive or Loyal Trail, and could see his other property, which he had rented to Walker, and was amazed to see scads of people living there in addition. He began to hear from neighbors strange tales of strange going-ons there during the summer, so de Beauvais began to copy down all parts of license numbers and data about the place at 7024 Loyal Trail. It seems he approached the place and they wouldn't let him in to inspect. As de Beauvais said, he was standing on the street one day and heard a girl mention our friend Manson. Evidently, this occurred in August of 1969. Another person, allegedly a tuba player for the LA Philharmonic, told de Beauvais that the Manson family had been up there that summer. Also on Loyal Trail, 7020, lived one John Williamson, a pilot. Kill Bill Sirens. Williamson had someone living with him by the name of Dennis Dale Kemp, whose red Toyota was stolen by the family as Kemp played cards on Victory Boulevard around September 1st, 1969. A week prior to the actual theft, someone attempted to steal the same red Toyota out of a garage at 7020 Loyal Trail, but Kemp was able to chase the stealer away. Manson was present. And right here, in trying to build a court scene against Manson, Inyo County DA Frank Fowles has had a hard time locating Kemp. Finally, the day before the court hearing, December 3rd, Fowler located Kemp at Loyal Trail and offered to charter a plane to take Kemp to the hearing the next morning. John Williamson, however, who claimed to have access to 10 planes, offered and actually flew Kemp up to the hearing in Inyo County on December 3rd. Well, who is this John Williamson? And why does he have 10 planes, or access to 10 planes, I should say? John Williamson sat looking at Manson for 3 hours during the court hearing. Ask Williamson if he recognized him. Yeah, that's a relevant question. And then it lists all of these businesses of this Michael Walker and his old lady, right? And let's see. As Larson was sitting on John Williamson's home, I don't know, best translation, waiting for Mike Williamson to return. Williamson's girlfriend said that Robin Wells, right after the murders, ran over to Williamson's house clutching a newspaper with the tragedy on the front page in hysterics, saying that she knew one of them or a girlfriend of hers knew one of them. Then John Williamson arrived and informed Larson that Robin Wells told him that she'd known one or more of the victims very well and had been at that party at Cielo Drive that night. She claimed she was there. Robin Wells' new address is on Clay Street. She allegedly had gotten married, is in the process of getting a divorce. Again, Dade DeBouvet is an architect. Okay. John Williamson told Larson that up the street at one point, the phone had an extensive surveillance scene going on. Telephoto lens, radio equipment, and entrapment equipment, so that they tried to freak the cops out, evidently by behaving suspicious and weirdly in front of them. Also, about 30 cops at one point were about to pull a raid on 7008 Woodrow Wilson Drive. Blank, someone let them, the cops, to Walker's home at 7024 Loyal Trail, giving the people at 7008 time to hide all the dope in the bushes and switch the party over to a lemonade scene. What the fuck is a lemonade scene? I feel like I'm going cross-eyed. Let's continue. Again, listing all these different parties. And it's Freaky Willie, who has wild, fuzzy, red natural, I'm assuming, hair. I would like to know who Freaky Willie is. It's just a really odd nickname. Let me look at the chat, because I see you guys are moving, and I'm sorry if it feels like I'm ignoring you guys, but there's a lot of information to get through. Oh, thank you guys so much for the super stickers. Thank you. That's very kind. Jeez. Thanks, guys. Okay, so that's it for that. Because I didn't have it in me to sit there and try and translate all of that. Okay, so that's what my friend translated. Good to go. Now, let's get into right here. We're going to pull up a lovely little map. Let me find it. I got a little map ready for us, because my friend also made a map. That way you guys have a visual, because I like a visual. I think that it's important, and this is very helpful. So, in regards to this vehicle being stolen, first I'm going to relay to you information that is not in those notes. Okay? This is what this person told me. And I trust them because all of their information is checked out. And they're the person that like reaches out and talks to these people. Not me. We see how that goes, right? So they said, I spoke with the husband of a woman in the file who lived next to Crowe and the abandoned house he and Manson used to party in. People have no idea those guys knew each other prior to the shooting. Manson had his bus parked on Crowe Street the whole summer of 1969. The family attempted to steal Crowe's neighbor's red Toyota Land Cruiser and were ran off. They later followed him to Van Nuys and stole it while he was at a friend's playing cards. That red Land Cruiser was a major reason they were caught in Death Valley. The vehicle was seen all over Inyo County and was easily identified from the sky. I think that that's very interesting. I get that some people don't care, but sorry, I just think that that's really interesting. So now let's go ahead and let's look at a little map. Okay, let's look at a little map. There we go. Hopefully you guys can see that. Let me try to make it bigger. All right, so right here, Bernard Crowe, 7008, Woodrow Wilson Drive. Oh, maybe it is Loyal Trail, and I was saying Loyola like a dumbass. Anyways, and right here, there is Dennis Dale Kemp's red 1969 Toyota Land Cruiser. Do you like the little vehicle that he put there? Isn't that nice? So, that's the map. Now, I still have to map this out to Mama Cass's house, because as someone, I think it was Misty Blue, so astutely pointed out, yeah, Mama Cass lived on the same road, right? Lived on the same road. So, let me make sure I'm not missing anything else, because we're going to look at a couple other books, but I want to get through these files. Now, we're going to look at De Bouvet. I don't like saying his name. It's very annoying. But we're going to look at the letter that he sent to the cops. So, right here. I can't tell if that's August 18th. Oh, yeah, it has to be mailed August 19th. So, to the LAPD, Hollywood Station, from Martin De Dubouvet. whatever. Anyways, dear sirs, from June 10th to August 10th, I was with my wife in Europe and left my property, a residence located at 7024 Loyal Trail, with my tenant Mike Walker. When we returned, we found this residence overran by long-haired, dirty young men and women who were sleeping all over the place, even in plain daylight. My neighbor, William H. Huffman, tells me that these people, sometimes as much as 20, have made unbearable noise, conducted orgies, and kept the neighborhood in uproar. Once, the police raided the house and arrested 7 persons. Since our return, these obviously dope-using people come and go, apparently doing nothing. The focal point seems to be my property, and I have a suspicion that my tenant, Mike Walker, is dealing in narcotics. Astute observation. It is not only my interest, but it is my duty to report these events to you, that you should investigate this matter and make an end to this dangerous situation. My wife is afraid to go out. Sincerely, Martin de Bouvet. So, that's what we have from Marty. I'm going to call him Marty, right? Because that's easier for me. That's what we have from Marty. So, let's put this into perspective here, right? What do we have? We have Bernard Crowe partying with the family. We're going to see further verification of this. And they're having orgies and doing drugs, right? So, does anybody really buy even the Watson Kasabian argument? No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. Sorry. Just saying. Sorry. We're sorry. I'm not sorry. All right, let's go ahead and let's get into the last one right here. So, Bernard Crowe, numero 4. All right, now this one, the handwriting, I had to do the font small. I've got to zoom in to be able to read it myself. So, Bernard Crowe, humorous, has a good laugh. 27, 284 pounds, 5'11. Slow, heavy, relaxed, wearing gold-rimmed glasses. Talk to him. Wanted to clear up Manson by saying that he had threatened Manson with the demise of the entire family unless he was made whole. Didn't want to talk about his dope dealing. Keeping wiping forehead with a handkerchief and his tie loose. Then he asked Sadie. Sadie, on Bernard Crowe, says that he is soulful, honest, good to his word, gentle as he is dangerous, a big kid. Patricia Krenwinkel said together, likes him. And another description down here. Rectangle glasses, large gold around them, lawyer kept coming up to the witness stand and conferring with him during his testimony. Crowe on cross said he couldn't remember how many lids in a key, said it had been a long time since he had engaged in that kind of work. And right here. Crowe was represented by James Morgan, a good black attorney with a deformed right hand who hated Canarac. Morgan approached me and told me that Crowe wanted to help Manson in the sense that he would testify that Manson came to kill him only because he, or R. Croner, I'm unsure about the spelling here, who he maintained actually called the ranch. So someone else spoke to Manson and made the threat that Crowe would destroy or wipe out everybody at the ranch and just wanted to protect his people. Apparently, Crowe felt guilty about testifying against Manson. Originally, Crowe had refused to testify. Stovitz had promised him the finest medical attention in the world in order to remove the bullet from his back, yet he has refused to testify. Showbus, I have no idea what that was, finally made him testify. That might be, no, that's not Stovitz. Maybe one of you guys can translate this right here. I did it as Shawbus. I would love to know who made him testify. So, hopefully some of that all tracks now, and you have a better understanding, in my opinion, of the truth about Bernard Crowe. Because I really have strong feelings, and it's just my opinion, that he is painted as this violent, sort of like black drug dealer, when the girls basically call him a big teddy bear. And I think that he's such a side story, yet is the impetus for certain narratives. And I understand that most people don't believe Helter Skelter. There's still good information in it, right? And we're going to get into cherry picking about that on another show. But I'm just saying, I think it's interesting. I wanted to include it because I think that everybody's story is important. And I think that you should put some respect on Bernard's name because it doesn't matter if he's black. That's completely irrelevant. Now, let's go ahead because I only have it on X. Watch this video. I've got the volume up of Bernard Crowe in court.
Was it a personal dispute of some kind, or what?
Yes, sort of. With Charlie Watson.
You mean Tex Watson?
Yes, Tex Watson.
I've been told that Charlie Manson shot you. Is that true?
Yes, he shot me, yes.
Was it a personal...
So, that does not look like somebody who wants to testify, and he can't even name Charles Manson correctly, right? I think that that's a little bit sus. That's just my opinion, though. Now, let's go ahead and let's just get into, because we're not really going to spend a bunch of time on it. Now, some of this stuff is well known, especially this, weird arrest that's in the newspaper before the trial in regards to him. But I'm also going to show you guys his family, what I could find. So, right here, the LA Times, March 27th, 1970. This is the arrest in West Hollywood in connection with a $250,000 forgery and burglary ring. According to sheriff's deputies, more than 100 stolen credit cards, a phony state seal stamp for driver's licenses, a check writing machine, and numerous bogus driver's licenses and social security cards were confiscated in the apartment at 1211 North Horn Street. Booked on suspicion of burglary and forgery were Bernard Crowe, William Fuller, Patricia H. Yellow, that doesn't sound like a real name, and Jerry M. Perkins. And all gave the West Hollywood address as their place of residence, deputies said. Okay, whatever you say. So, and again, right here, just a couple of articles, nothing really enlightening. He declined to say who shot him. And, there's so much misinformation in regards to when he was shot. The general consensus by the truth seekers, I guess you would say, on this topic, he was shot in June, at the beginning of June, and he was released from the hospital on July 15th. Okay, so this whole thing, this is Bugliosi trying to push that timeline, right? But we're obviously not going to see the documents that Tom O'Neill got. Okay, so now right here from his probation report, I was able to properly identify Bernard Crowe. So obviously he's dead. Social security number doesn't really matter, but he was born on April 13th, 1942. Social security number was issued in the state of Pennsylvania. He died on February 1st, 1993. His father was Harrison Crowe and his mother was Corinne Ballard. And right here, I wanted to include her since they were twins and they died very close to each other, which kind of makes me sad because I feel like that's a twin thing. This is his twin sister, Bernice Crowe, and she, again, same birth date, and she died on March 5th, 1993. So that is his sister. Well, all right, and right here, this is his parents' marriage certificate, right? So they got married on, February 11th, 1931. There's Harrison Crowe and Corinne Ballard, Charlotte, North Carolina. I just love these old documents, guys. You know I do. You know how I roll. And right here, certificate of death. So this is Corinne's, and she died renal insufficiency and diabetes mellitus. Obviously, I think that is very sad. She died March 20th, 1959. And right here is Dad's. Let's see. He died on March 22nd, 1965. So it looks like this was probably the impetus for Crowe leaving Philadelphia. Yeah. But it is interesting, and I've found some things, but I don't feel confident that it's the right Bernard Crowe because this is an extremely common name. But his dad was a minister. Trying to figure out of what, because I don't think it's of Christian Science. But he died of bronchopneumonia, congestive heart failure, and hypertensive heart disease. So that is Bernard Crowe. Yeah, that's Bernard Crowe. I don't know if any of that was enlightening to anybody. Okay, did I have the date wrong? End of June, July 1st? Sorry, I put June 1st. My bad. Now, before we're done, I would like to show you part of the reason why I do this for people that are like, Dana, you're just repeating things that are already known. First off, no, I'm not, because I have seen no verification of Bernard Crowe's like factual family history. So now at least there's answers, right? Now we know who Bernard Crowe is. And it is his real name. But me being paranoid because of a lack of middle name gets you on this journey. And then you find good people to work with. And again, what is it? No sense makes sense, right? Thank you guys so much. I truly appreciate you sending me Ed's files and the information that you guys have garnered. And now we know that Manson and the family were good friends. I do this stuff because of what I'm about to show you, the first example. The rest of them is just additional information before I end. Because this is a book that was published. Common information, not that common, okay? So, we're going to read one page from this book. Here we go. All right, so this is Cults, A Bloodstained History. I just pulled this. I found it last night, and I had to laugh. We're not going to read all of this, right? But right here, let me see if I can zoom in. Down here, in subsequent trials, Atkins, Grogan, and Manson were charged and found guilty for their involvement in the Gary Hinman murder. Manson was also found guilty for the murder of drug dealer Bernard Crowe. No, he wasn't. Right here. Sadly, Manson will never be forgotten, but it is his victims that we should remember rather than him. There may be other bodies out there that were never discovered, but we can be certain of 12 victims. Bernard Crowe is the first one that's listed. I would say that Bernard Crowe was a victim of the situation and the times, and Vincent Bugliosi, and the LAPD and LASO, but he was not a victim. Somebody had that published in a book, and that book is from like 2014. Okay? That's crazy to me. So, don't watch if this is just common knowledge to you. Okay? Don't watch. Now, Jeff Gwynne, not a fan of Jeff Gwynne, don't like him. But let's see what Jeff Gwynne had to say. Jeff Gwynne is the most public consumption narrative person on the planet. I used to be a big fan. He's in all the Manson documentaries. This was like when I was a normal true crime documentary watcher. But now I'm like, oh, why did I poison my brain with your nonsense? But let's just see what he had to say. Because obviously, his book on Charlie. And right there, I'm not going to read all of this, but, he was walking proof that Charlie was personally able to kill lotsapoppa. Same thing. So he's writing exactly and still going on documentaries, I think he's still alive, to this day, about this Helter Skelter BS, right? So, we still have people out here pushing the bullshit. Excuse my language. The bullshit. And right here, let's read from Simon Wells, Coming Down Fast, which is obviously older than Chaos, just saying. So, right here. Bernard Crowe, right? So, Crowe was a neighbor of Cass Elliot. Diane Lake even referred to him as the Negro member of the family. He had many entertainment contacts. One of them was reportedly Bryn Lukashevsky, a friend of both Dennis Wilson and Greg Jacobson's. The Crow Man or lotsapoppa. Gotta wonder if he was hanging out with Mama Cass, right? Gotta wonder if he was hanging out with Mama Cass. And because I really enjoy the way that this book kind of lays things out, I think it's very visually appealing, even though it's a bit Viva la Discordia for me. Right here, this is from The Shadow over Santa Susana, discussing Bernard Crowe. It says, in retrospect, one must wonder if Manson actually believed that he would ignite a race war. Some sources suggest that Charles was much more familiar with Bernard Crowe than he has ever admitted. One former Manson family member stated that in late 1968, Charlie's family used to visit a Bernie's house in Laurel Canyon, and again, Diane Lake once referred to Crowe as the Negro member of the family. Given the fact that a friend of Dennis Wilson's was at the scene of the Crowe shooting, further supports the likelihood that everyone involved in this incident were much more familiar with one another than has been officially disclosed. I would completely agree. And I would personally like to know, hi Pooks, don't apologize. I love you. Hello, it's so nice to see you. I was going to ask you when you want to have a FaceTime date. So nice to see you. I personally would love to know, and I don't know if anything's out there because I've hunted all over Hell's Half Acre for it. I would like to know where Bernard Crowe was playing jazz because, in my opinion, this is a small circle that, continues to get smaller the more that you look at it. I am very curious if he is a jazz player, which he states that he was, the newspapers state that he is. Um, was he hanging out with the Rat Pack? Probably. I would imagine so, right? Especially if he's out there dealing drugs. And then I also think that that makes the situation much more interesting, right? Because obviously drugs are a huge part of this. And again, the stuff with specifically Joel Ristow being shot in the foot and him being shot in the foot. I don't think that that's a coincidence. Seems like a particular thing for somebody. And we know the Rat Pack was mobbed up, and so was Joe Rousseau. Whenever you want, boo. Okay, that's awesome. I love you. Thank you. I'm so happy to see you. That was a nice surprise. Got Gwen's books and O'Neill's, both unread. Was wondering if I should read the older first. Stated to the rescue. Yeah, thank you guys, everybody that's coming in. It's it's tough because I have a lot of like old facts in my brain from a long time ago, and Jeff Gwynne, you read one book, and if you don't really know like what you're looking at, it's like, oh, he did a really good job, and then you read the next one, and you read the next one, and you read the next one, right? And then you see him in these documentaries, and it's just kind of him pushing the mainstream narrative. And again, Tom O'Neill deserves his flower. He's shown what a scumbag Bugliosi was, but also how incredible he is, right? But it's also what they don't say. That's the big thing for me. And it's, who knows what random person is, the key to another door to the next amount of information, right? Do I think it's very strange that Charlie and Crowe and the girls were having orgies on the same street that Mama Cass lived on? I think that that's really weird, right? And it does make me wonder if Bernard Crowe was possibly one of the black men in those videotapes that LASO and LAPD said that they were very offended when they found them, and that they were willing to call it even Steven and stop the investigation. You just have to wonder. These are not unfair questions to ask, especially because a lot of this information I have not seen anywhere else. And I also read Anne Rule. I totally did. I remember The Stranger Beside Me. It's like a staple in my brain. I'm like, oh, this is so crazy. Like, Ted Bundy worked at a suicide hotline, and she sat right next to him, and it could be anybody. And it's like, that stuff is why we're at where we're at today with Brian Koberger. This is just my personal opinion. I'm not going to get into that on here. So I'm going to wrap this up. I have a show coming up with Parker in a couple of days. For my process brain folks, we're going to be taking a very deep dive, and come hang out. Come hang out in the chat. Yeah, we'll see who shows up. It's going to get real weird. Me and her have been working quite diligently to put all of this together. It's going to be a likely part one, kind of debunking numerous installments of a certain blog and showing the credibility of one of the sources, which should put into question the remaining parts of that series. And then, just as an aside, because I haven't scheduled the next show yet, I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to talk about, because I also need to record the podcast. Yes, we are going to have a movie night soon, absolutely. And also, at some point, just so you guys know, I am going to be talking about the yogurt shop murders. It's something that is off topic for me, but it is something that was brought to my attention, and there's a lot of information that has been, that I've been working on putting together that is not really out there. And I will be honest, it was an HBO documentary. I I think I got through the first 2 episodes and someone hit me up and they were asking for something related to the case, and I said, "That's so odd. I'm watching that documentary right now." And they basically blew up my brain with all of the things surrounding it, and I think that the story needs to be told. So I really want to talk about it. It's really important to me, and I've got some stuff to show you guys in relation to that. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, great. If not, great, whatever. I don't really know what to tell you. But yeah, I will be setting up the Patreon movie night. We're going to do Chinatown. It's my decision because it was between Eyes Wide Shut and Chinatown last time. I said we were still going to watch Chinatown at some point, so that'll be the next one. And come hang out with me and Parker in a couple of days if you would like to see us debunk some process sympathizers and show the credibility of some of these people out here who pretend that they're like super ethical experts on things because they're not. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.